Do today, are you going to cash a check tomorrow for the lead generation that you do today? Absolutely not. When does it show up? October, November, December, right? So what happens now is what your future looks like. And I know that I talk about this all the time, but it feels so busy right now, it's very easy to take your foot off the gas pedal of generating leads. Yes, sir?
Something you said earlier too, when you go into January with X amount of pendings, that momentum pays dividends because you're primed for the year. You're not just eking in there, you're cruising in there. Yeah. And it pushes you.
You just said...
And you're a good example because you capped out in January.
No, seriously. It's a great point. You capped in January.
Yeah. I just want to beat Dar this year. That's all I care about. Back here.
I wish we were competitive around here.
You know, you guys, if anybody has an opportunity, come to my office, because one thing that's very powerful for me is I've got a big board with all my pendings on it, and it's got the closing date. And when I sit and I meet with my team twice a week, I'm not looking at what's closing this week. I'm like, where are we at in 90 days? Because you need to live today knowing that there is a distinct possibility that you are going to be broke in 90 days if we don't close anything. So what are you doing to fill that pipeline, and are we going to have closings 60, 90 days out?
Okay, so this goes back to exactly what I have said for the last little bit. I want you guys to take your train of thought. Now we've got a business student sitting here at UAA. I want you to not think like a real estate agent. I don't want a room full of realtors, no slam on the realtor designation. I don't want a room full of realtors. I want a room full of CEOs and business owners who think 90 days, 120 days, 365 days in advance. That's where I want your head. Yes, ma'am.
One thing that I love about KW is that, yes, you, you specifically, KW in general, is that we are always preaching the 90 days, the 120 days, because as I was gearing up for our summer party, I had no less...
You threw a party? I can't imagine.
Go figure. But I had no less than 10 realtors from other brokerages tell me they thought I was crazy, the business was doing great, why was I taking time away from this, you know, awesome market that we're in right now, because it's very labor intensive to prepare. I mean, we had 420 people. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
I also walked away with 44 leads. And I do it because I know October and November are coming. Yeah. And we have them label themselves. Are you looking in 0 to 6 months? Are you looking for 6 months to a year? You know, so I know right out of the gate whether they're A, B, or C buyers or sellers.
You're understanding that you're filling, like Kevin used the word pipeline, you're filling it, and the lead generation today shows up for tomorrow. By the way, all the work that you did, you could have not even held the party and gotten the same results. Because all the lead generation up to it. Yeah, exactly.
We run an 8x8. We've already hit them 8 times before we ever see them at the party.
Yeah.
The party just locks them.
Yeah. Anybody who needs advice on client appreciation parties, Deanne is the master, and that's all joking aside, she's amazing at it.
And if you wait until you're broke to do your lead generating, you
can't afford to do it.
You can't afford to put on a client party unless they don't mind, BYOB.
Show up, bring your own dinner, and get to talk to me. So Bob mentioned a word I want to touch on, and now I'm getting away from the book, but he's right where he's supposed to be. Momentum. You guys know I love this word. I love it, I love it, I love it. And right now, when the market is busy, and Bob hit the nail on the head, when you can come into the beginning of the year with momentum, you understand that momentum is that intangible gift that you cannot buy. You can't spend, there's no price tag on momentum, and yet it is one of the most effective things you can have in your tool bag. When you have momentum, you get that I call it the Midas touch feel. You can't everything goes right? You know, you felt it. I know several of you have felt it. Bob has felt it. I know there's ones of you who have, like, the listings start falling in your lap. You're going, I don't even know where this is coming from. It's typically because you've created momentum. For example, anybody ever had a listing that sat on the market for 365 days and all of a sudden it has 7 showings and 3 offers? And you have no idea how it happened? It's momentum. There's a certain, and you know, I'm not being all new agey spiritual here, but there's a certain energy that gets created. Here's the challenge. When we build momentum, and I've used this analogy before, you guys have heard it, it's like running downhill. You start running downhill, what happens to your speed?
You pick up speed.
Picks up, right? You get going faster and faster. Just inertia happens and you start going faster. What do naturally? We lean back and we brake because we don't want to fall and get hurt. I'm going too fast. That's what we do in our business. We don't even know that we do it. We go, things are happening, it's so busy, it's so crazy, it's so that we break ourselves, as opposed to leaning into it and letting it just carry you even faster. It's so much easier to do that because when you lose momentum and you have to build it, it's literally like pushing a Mack truck up a hill with your hands. It's so hard to create it. So once you've got it, grab it and don't let it go. Use that when you're lead generating, because guess what happens? When you're listing property and selling property and converting leads and lead generating, it shows up in your voice. People feel it. You exude something. It's confidence. There's nothing like walking into a listing appointment with confidence. Not cockiness, but confidence. And you get that when you're working out of momentum because you have nothing to lose. You're not lead generating out of broke desperation. I need a deal. Do you have anybody that can send me a deal? You're lead generating out of strength because you know you've got something of value to add and people are drawn to that. So momentum is your best gift. It's why we have bold in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to give you every tool I can so you can build momentum.
And we're very
going into the
grateful
first
for
quarter.
Bold in the fourth quarter. That is awesome that you were able to do that for
I'm
us.
excited about it. I think it's going to be really, it's going to be fun to track the numbers.
So we gotta go ahead and show them.
Bye, July. Thanks for being here. Okay, so leverage. Here's the questions you've got to ask yourselves. What are my business priorities? When do they need to get done? Who is the best person to do them and how should they be done? I would challenge you that when the market is good and things are popping and you're busy, is a great time to evaluate your business and say, where can I use technology? Maybe I have a person doing something that I'm spending $15 an hour to get done that I could utilize eEdge for that costs me $25 a month. Maybe I could take my person that I'm paying to be here and use them on something that's way more an effective use of their time and take something off of their plate that can be leveraged out to technology or to a system or to a virtual assistant. We love VAs. We love $4 an hour labor. So when things are great, it's a great time to look at your people, look at who's where, look at what you're doing. Has anybody lately done the deal where you track your activities for a full week in 15-minute increments? It is. Why is it so horrible? Number one, it's a pain just to write it down. But why is it so horrible?
Well, you can only tell how many times you go to the bathroom. Little things. And you think that you're working, but you're really not, because you get pulled up and you go to talk for what you thought was only like 30 seconds to a minute, but it was really 10, 15 minutes, and it just adds up and adds up. Adds up.
I don't think we even realize how many things we take back on our plate.
Oh, yeah.
I think you just go do it. I think it's natural because most of you guys in this room that are realtors are high D personality. It's going to go get done. You're going to go handle it, right? I mean, that's me. Go fix it. One of the biggest battles I've had is for Allison to blockade my door and say, no, you can't do it. Give it to me. And let me, and then they go do it better than I would have ever done it. But it's because our personality, we're wired to just go do it, right? So you take back stuff and you don't even know that you're doing it. And now you've got stuff on your plate and you're spending 5 minutes, 10 minutes. 5 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but you take 5 minutes times 5 days a week times 52 weeks in a year, now you're talking about real time. You're worth $250 an hour. You get that, right? Average realtor, your salary is about $250 an hour. Should you have spent that time working on that filing system that should have been put somewhere else? Does that make sense? But it just happens if you get complacent. Yeah.
Well, and that's why it's important that, you know, the natural progression is to get up and have the to-do list. And what I've said before, I have a not to-do list. Listen, it's so much, it's, when you're a high D or you're an entrepreneur, you automatically want to put your hands all over it.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and generally that means you just screw it up that much more. But the not to-do list is critical because there's so much on there. You're like, I really don't need to do this. And here's what's surprising. is that a lot of realtors and a lot of individuals say, no, I've got to do it, my clients want me to do it. You know what, here's the conversation I have with my clients. I say, I'm the man in charge. This is the woman who knows what's going on when I point at Jerry, and I go, listen, is it more important that I do it or that it's done right? Because understand that's how I build my team.
Right.
So it's not about me, it's about you and making sure everything is taken care of. So do you
Be the
understand why these
best.
people are here?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then they're like, okay.
Well,
Magnificent.
and what we find is when we're taking back these pieces on our plate, these little things that we're doing, everything that you do takes away from something else. Okay? So if I'm taking back a task that is important to be done, yes, it's not important that it be done by me, meaning by you as the lead generator. It's taking away from your time to go do your job, which is to be on the phone and generating leads. What is more important? So everything you do displaces something else. I've talked about it with energy, right? Every minute that you spend worrying about something that you didn't cause, can't control and can't cure, every minute that you put towards worrying about something that is beyond your ability to have any impact on, you're taking away from something good. I always think about it, just be personal, I always think about it in terms of my children. Every minute that I'm home at work or home at night and I'm worrying about an agent that's upset about something, and an earnest money dispute that I can't do, honestly, a darn thing about, I'm no longer present with my kids. So I've taken away from time with them to worry about something that I can't control. How fair is that? And when I'm 10 years down the road, I'm going to kick myself over that, right? Because what's more valuable to me? Clearly, the time with my children, right? So it's the same thing in your business. Every minute that you spend on something that you should leverage out is minutes that you are not generating a lead for what could be a $10,000 commission check. So you might as well take $10,000 in cash and put it on your desk and just take a match and light it on fire. Or go hand it to Michael Schwartz, because Michael's going to go lead generate and get that deal while you're busy filing.
And Jen, I want to say one of the great things about Keller Williams for me is that you've got so many people here that help us leverage, because Jamin will do postcards and logos and do that kind of stuff for you. Dave Davis does photography and he'll do video tours. You've got Lindsay, you've got Lainey, you've got so many options for us to be able to do small
Absolutely.
pieces of leverage without having to hire that.
You don't ever have to get out of your jammies.
And then of course we have Bob
We'll
King.
build a marketing campaign around that.
And here's what's amazing is that it is, let me explain, it was an aha I got from, I don't know if it was Recruit Select or it might have been Mega Camp, which was how to bring in leverage, and that is, when things are good like this, I budgeted out, and I set aside, my very beginning was $3,000 to hire an assistant. And they weren't full-time, they were part-time, they were like 15 hours a week, and if I paid them $12 to $15 an hour, I figured out what I could budget. This will give me 6 weeks of an assistant part-time. Okay, and I set that money aside, put it in a bank account, I go, use this to leverage. Now here's the deal, knowing that they're less than 90 days, they're part-time, I could fire them, with less than 2 weeks notice or whatever, and just say, you know what, it's not working out, you gotta go, and understand that that's the risk you take. But it was so important for me to get into that habit of making sure that if I'm gonna leverage that time out, lead generating. I was doing productive things to keep them busy, because the aha was that now their livelihood depends on me. And so I budgeted out that small portion, I was able to bring in leverage, and I tell you what, it was amazing that I discovered I really did not have the order time to make flyers, verify do the inspections, and make sure I got the inspection reports back. It was basically, you know what, just let me know if there's a problem to solve, but as long as everything goes good, I don't even want to hear about it.
You and I talked about this before.
It's a raw motivator knowing somebody's counting on you. It flat out puts you in high gear. And I worry about wasting time. And Michelle knows I've been fishing a lot lately, so I got to watch it. She's checking everything I say. But honest to goodness, I couldn't do that if I didn't have somebody who was able to
But I tell you what a great blessing, though, that you are, when you are productive and you're successful, what a great blessing you can be to those people around you.
Well, and your job is to lift those people up. It really
Absolutely.
is.
Well, I mean, I put it, as a matter of fact, Eric and I were talking about this morning before we came down here, and I put it on my Facebook the day that the whole Chick-fil-A thing was going on, and the You Didn't Build It was playing out in the news, and I'm not going to get into politics, But here's the great thing. You guys are the original entrepreneurs. You're the job creators. That's what you do. When you are building, when you're using leverage, whether it's Jamin or Dave, Jamin and Dave are both two independent contractors. They don't work for Keller Williams. They own their own businesses. They work here, but they own their own business. When you use them, you're supporting someone who has gone out and started his own business. When you create an executive assistant position, whether it's 15 hours a week or 40 hours a week, you're creating a job, right? That's freaking cool. I mean, it really is. That's what and not to be, too post-Olympics patriotic, but that's what our country is built on, right? Which is awesome.
Come on.
Well, and I want you to,
You're absolutely right.
I want you guys to think about that. Whether you're building a house or whether it's individuals in the Olympics, is it one person doing everything? When you hire someone to build a house, don't they have a foundation specialist, an electrician, a plumber, a framer, a roofer, HVAC contractor, and all those people specialize in what they do. Listen, if you're trying to do everything, your end product is not as pretty as you think.
I would, I agree. The other thing I want you to think about, and you asked about Dr. Whitson coming up and teaching the Recruit Select series, or somebody asked. Make sure that you absolutely take those classes when they come. When we talk about leverage, we talk about people. When you're talking about people, we're always looking for talent, right? We are constant. I feel like Joe and I are talent scouts. That's our job. Our job is to find talented individuals and get them placed in the right positions. Whether it's as an agent on their own, whether it's as a team member, whether it's as an admin, it doesn't matter. We're looking for talent. You're doing the same thing. Take the Recruit Select classes when they come. I know they're not free. I know they're a little bit of money, $250 usually. It is so worth it because what you learn is how to spot talent. There's a reason, and he stepped out, so I'll pick on him. There's a reason Brent Dewan is doing so well. Somebody spotted he had amazing customer service skills when he was bartending at Sullivan's. And said, that guy needs to be in real estate because he can connect with people in 30 seconds or less, right? So he took the leap, and he's doing fantastic. Abigail Owens, another example. Someone said, man, that kid has got some talent. She's not a kid. I don't mean that in a bad way. But that's what your job is, right? To be constantly looking for talent for yourself. You don't know that, you say, well, I don't sell enough to hire someone. It's not about that. You're always looking for people because people will bring you an amazing amount of freedom. People are the reason that I can actually go on a vacation for real because I have amazing people that we work together as a team. That makes sense. Go ahead.
And if you're not good at real estate, then if you focus on identifying talent, your profit share will be successful. You don't need to worry about selling it.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing at MegaCamp. You got that one guy on the panel, and he goes, "I don't know how I'm making $600,000, $700,000 a year in profit share. I only recruited 6 people. I just recognized one having phenomenal talent. Well, they went on to start a market center."
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I guess my point here is I want you to not be complacent. I want you to not be lulled into the sense of false security that when you're busy, that means you have a great business. That's a bold law, right? Busyness does not equal business. You can have some amazingly busy people that are busy doing nothing. What I want you to do is be sharp, be on your game, be a hawk. Be watching your business, be watching your people, your systems, your tools. What systems are you paying for that you can get rid of? We gave the example 2 weeks ago, for those of you who remember. We've been paying for Top Producer to go to a BlackBerry for Cody Gibson, who hasn't been here in over 1.5 years and hasn't owned a BlackBerry in I don't even know how long. Right? And it was what, $60 a month?
That little piece was only $9.95, but it was attached to.
Yeah, but all put together was $60 a month that we were spending that we didn't realize. It was a system we were paying for that we didn't need, right? $60 a month times 12 months a year, real money. So be watching your business, especially now, because this is when the money and the people and the systems can slide by. Because you're busy and things are great and you're doing awesome. That's the time to be the sharpest, if that makes sense. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. Any comments or thoughts or ahas that you guys want to share?
I'm doing a fast track coaching, Make the Phone Ring with Coach Brad Korn. And he gave a really good example of that. Busyness does not equal business. He said, you have an hour, your office is a mess. You say, I'm going to organize my office. He says, you can be very productive in that hour and get that office organized and it'll look great. He said, but if you take that same hour and you call 20 for sell by owners, which is better for your business?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can tell I never organized
Has anybody ever set foot in mine?
my own. I think batch is the quickest way to solve that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts
Tour, noon.
before we get to that?
I kind of got one thing.
Yes.
Just as something I talked to Bev at MLS, because I was trying to put some stats together for Michelle, and she said, I was asking her about, what's the 80-20 rule? It's the
Pareto principle?
The Pareto principle, and I asked her if 80% of the business done right now in Anchorage, Alaska is done by 22% of the realtors.
So when you actually shake it out, that's what it
That's
comes down
exactly
to.
what it is.
Well,
It's just an interesting point.
Well, when
That's
you look at
crazy.
those stats, it's amazing to watch, but after about the 25th, 24th realtor, the volume drops significantly.
Yeah, and then get past, when you just pass 200
Yeah.
or 150 even, it's like the gap is crazy.
But
We were talking about this earlier. I'm telling you, it's totally the truth.
as far as leverage, I'd like to, in just real
Yeah,
quick,
go
in the
ahead.
last 5 minutes on ideas, you know, before I had an administrative assistant, I had another realtor that that I had a good relationship with, and it's all a pain in the butt filling flyer boxes and stuff like that, so we would swap off, and I go, listen, I only got like 3 or 4 listings, you only got 3 or 4, you go fill flyer boxes this week, and then you give me your flyers next week, and I'll go do it. And just
That's a
little
great
things like
idea.
that, because, I mean, you know, hey, block boxes, whatever it is, you know, work with other realtors, individuals, and try to leverage and see what they can offer and you guys can do to build each other.
And
Well,
Bob
think
King will
outside
do
the
that too.
box.
Bob
Yeah.
King will deliver signs, he'll also deliver flyers and put up sell pending signs and stuff for you. So Bob King you can leverage him
Well,
for
and
some
don't
of
be
that
afraid
too.
to ask. You think outside the box. What can I get? How can I do this that it's not going to cost me money? And this is why I go back to the tracking your activities, because when you really see what you do in a day, it'll make you see what goes on the not to do list. Because when you can look at it, when you're not in the middle of it, you know, when you're in the thick of things and you're working and you're going through your day, you're just cranking, right? But when you can step away from it, like on a weekend or a Sunday night when it's your plan, you know, I have an hour Sunday night where I do my planning. When you can step away, when you're not busy and you're settled and you can look at it objectively and you can go, man, why was I doing that and that and that? How can I do this in a better way? How can I get creative and think outside the box and find a cheaper, faster, more economical way so I'm on the phone lead generating?
I was gonna say, the other one I would do is flyer boxes, lock boxes, and things like that. I would do it 1 day a week. And because I was having trouble doing lead generation, taking classes, and going to the gym, I just put them on my mountain bike. And I get a bike ride in, fill flyer boxes, and therefore I'd be productive and get my exercise in at the same time.
Love that idea.
Well, I should have been doing more running this summer. I could have done more.
Amy, you just spoke to Amy's
I
mountain biking heart.
Get back on that bike, girl.
And you'd be surprised when you're on your bicycle and you're cutting through neighborhoods, how many FISBOs and stuff like that you see, and you're like,
Take a
oh
picture.
man, you know?
Write that one down.
Click. And all this business I missed because I'm just going straight down C Street.
Yep, exactly, yeah, because you're not driving through the residential neighborhoods on your commute. Any other ahas or thoughts about this before we move on?
That scares me.
What?
Yeah, the word complacent, because it's so easy to get there, right?
It is. I mean, I feel like in my business, it's momentum's carrying me, but when I think about what am I actually going out to get, not what's being delivered to me from the past efforts, what am I going out to get? And that's where I'm falling into this, and this is exactly in line with what I was thinking about last night. Where did my business come from? And just kind of tracking it, because I know my business, and I know that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do to make it go.
So the visual image, and I'm a huge believer in mental pictures, you know, as motivators, is standing on the gas pedal. Not just cruising down the road with it on cruise control or even with your foot on it at 55 miles an hour, but standing on the gas pedal. And with all the agents that I coach with, I'll text them all the time and say that. Stand on it. Don't just drive. Literally push it as hard as you can. And that's how you avoid complacency. All right, I'll let you guys get out of here. Tour packets. Jamie is in the room with those for you guys. And thanks for being here. I appreciate it.